I'm here with the Ascended Masters, and this week we have Lord Melchizedek, sometimes Lord Melchizedek, and he would like to talk to us about a state of being. So for the Ascended Masters, a state of being is a rite of passage that humans go through, and most often we manage it when we are in the death process, when we are leaving our earthly vessel. The rest of the time, the Masters are saying we spend in the illusion. We spend inside the illusion that we are living in a reality that actually exists, if you like. And as you guys know, if you've been following my episodes, that if I look off camera or I take a few minutes to say something, it's because I'm listening to the master who's there in front of me. Lord Melchizedek is saying that the illusion of life is the biggest hurdle for a human being. They feel that there's a slight judgment in the way that we talk about the ego and the illusion. This is how the paradigm has been created. It is very immersive. It is so detailed. There is so much for us to sort of take in, and that's necessary for the Earth journey. So whilst the Masters are sort of proud that there are those of us who are becoming more aware of the illusion, they also feel that the judgment is unnecessary pressure. The simulation has been created to be so in-depth, so immersive, so detailed, down to a speck of dust or a grain of sand, so multisensory, in order that we collapse with it. It's like, it's not just a simulation, there's an overstimulation, if you like. It's very difficult to create the distance or remove ourselves away from it without getting distracted and pull back in. And that is how it has been designed. That is how this paradigm has been designed. So there isn't anything wrong with that. If you're fully in the illusion, you're kind of right on track. If you're fully in the illusion, you're not going to be watching this, but if you're fully in the illusion, let's just say you're on track for the way in which humanity has been using this paradigm, this Earth School, until now. There is a growing awakening. There is a growing consciousness of the simulation. There's a growing consciousness of the illusion. And with that is coming an expanded awareness. They kind of go hand in hand. With the understanding and awareness of the illusion, the simulation, just a paying attention to it and noticing of it, comes an expanded consciousness, and vice versa. So with the expanded consciousness comes a sense of the illusion, comes a sense of the simulation. And that ability to hold those two at the same time is where humanity is headed. There'll come a time on Earth when our ability to hold those two things at the same time will allow us to move in and out of the simulation at will. In this reality, the reality that we're in right now, we are in flux. And I just want to make a distinction here for you. When I say reality, there is the reality of the Earth School, the paradigm. It's almost like each generation has its own reality. Not generation in the way that we think of generations, a grandmother, a mother, a child, but the generation of human evolution. If we think about how consciousness is evolving, there are moments of accelerated consciousness like there are now. And so the way the Masters are using the term generation, it's more the different generations of the evolution of consciousness. And so let's call it each stride forward with consciousness, the reality slightly shifts. And the level of consciousness that we're at now, our reality is actually in flux. So we haven't got to the point where we can jump in and out of the simulation at will. We're also not at an absolute fixed reality in the way that we would have been when the Earth School first came to be, when it was first designed, when the paradigm was first designed. Flux that I'm talking about are really fluctuations, and Lord Melchizedek is saying to me that those fluctuations are being timed together with the solar flares, the solar surges, is what he's calling them. So it's not a chaotic flux because humans are evolving, and so our reality is mirroring that, although that would be the case individually and collectively anyway, because that is how the paradigm is set up. I know I'm talking in very meta terms and using the same terms to describe different things, and it's a complex system, so hopefully I will be able to explain it in detail as we go forward. The system, the paradigm, has been designed to be not overridden, but the entire paradigm is designed with flexibility. And it was always designed with flexibility because humans were always on a path to conscious evolution, both personally. So I'm on my path, you're on your path. But the Earth School itself will have us cycling through many different incarnations. The overall understanding would be that the collective would have an expansion in its consciousness. And so the paradigm was always designed to be flexible and fluctuate, if you like, from a programmatic point of view is really the way that they're describing it to me. And so their point is that it's not chaotic. It's timed and it's systematic, and it is one of the mechanisms that they're using to help us accelerate our growth and evolution. In one of my previous episodes, I've talked about how when a soul comes through, the veil remains transparent. The guides are still in contact with the soul because the disconnection would be too much for them. In a similar way, the flux that I'm talking about, the fluctuations are being timed and are sporadic because the change would be too much. Just allowing whatever's coming through to just come through all the time, like opening the tap, it would flood our reality in a way that we wouldn't be able to handle. And so the masters are drip feeding us, if you like. What's actually coming through those surges is a form of higher consciousness.